Alright, we're back. Alright, let's try this meter again. The switch was acting up. Let's see if it's working now that we adjusted it. Beat on it until it worked correctly. Not making noise like it was. Now it's working correctly. Wasn't a meter problem, it was a switch problem. But with a light bulb I can tell what's going on. With the meter, not quite so good. Okay, so we need to put this thing back together so that we can work on it. So first thing I gotta do is adjust this thing. You put the thing up in third gear. Chrome's falling off. So third gear is one back from high gear. So we have a notch right here. This notch has to line up with that gear. If it doesn't, you'll go over here and adjust the screw right here and you move the plate back and forth until it does line up with that notch. And this one appears to be pretty close, a little off, but pretty close. It's about 5/10 off, but that's plenty close enough for Harley. But if you want to play with it, you can play with it. Just needs to go that way just a skosh. See how tight the screw is? Pretty tight. Oh yeah. Actually had one thing tight. There we go. Pretty tight. Tighten it some more. Okay. Now I like it better. According to my eyeballs, that's better. Of course, who knows how good them eyeballs are. Okay, that's tightened down. Now that screw isn't 100% what holds everything because it pinches here with 5 more screws to hold it down. So that just holds it initially. I do tighten the piss out of it. So these springs need to go in here. Should have grease on them. So we need some Wonder grease. Can use some Champion's Choice. So you take a little bit of grease and you pour it into here. Now being chrome and everything, be careful you don't get yourself. Now don't be afraid to put some grease in here because the only lubricant those springs are going to get is what you're putting in here right now. Same thing with these plungers and all this crap over here. So don't be afraid to lube things up. Okay, these are your springs. They're not supposed to be permanently curved, but sometimes they are. So there's a stop thing right here. You just got to kind of keep it from falling in. Push it in there with your thumb. Don't put your face over the top of the spring because it'll come up and get you. And you stick it in there like that. Same thing on the other one. Push it against the stop. Get it started in there and push it down. I'm getting gooey. Still gooey on my hands a little bit. So now you can see it's against the stop right here. And so there's flat. If the spring has a permanent curve to it, I might want to try to pop up and hit you in the face. You gotta be careful. Okay, then I come in here and put some more lube on it. Once again, the only lube you're going to get on this is what you put on right now. Transmission oil doesn't really get up in here very well. Okay. We'll be using more of that grease. Okay, now here's your ratchet plate piece. Now this here goes in between the springs right here. That's what ratchets it back and forth. And you got two plungers that go down the side of here that have to have grease put on them too. That's these things right here. Make a little small coil spring inside of them. So these go in, you have a groove right there, and they only go in one way. The right way, not the wrong way. Clean off the old muck that's on them. Your springs should be equal length when you pull them out. If they're not, there's probably something wrong with them. Okay, we're going to clean the little rust residue in here. So I'm going to make sure this works smoothly because that is a little bit of buildup on that one. So this goes right in here. Spring goes inside your plunger. The plunger goes toward the inside, and the dowel's here on the outside. So that's your dowel, plunger. Goes on this one. It's working freely, ain't a problem. It looks like this one would work either way. So there is no left or right. That's just how you put them in. No wonder I usually get them right when I put them in. Okay, so these need grease on them. So, dip them in a grease bucket, put a little grease on them, snot them up pretty good. Put them in. Put grease in there too for the hell of it. Make sure they go up and down like they're supposed to. That's one. Do another one. Kind of a greasy job. Okay, get the other one in there. There we go. Now to put this on is a little tricky. You got to hold these down, put this inside the springs, and then rotate this down over the pivot shaft there. And if these come out too much, they turn and they rotate. You got to rotate them back. Now you can put a zip tie across here or a piece of old tie wire. There are tricks back in the day to hold it. So when you're doing all those tricks, you got to pull that crap out before it goes together. Me, I usually just stick them in there and to hell with it. I gotta use a little screwdriver to line them. We have a little screwdriver. Okay, this is a little awkward right now. So usually I put them on this side first, then I bring them down. Like that. Guess that's all the way down. Almost like I've done that before, huh? Get the grease off my fingers so I can hold on to stuff. Okay, I need a new clean rag over here. Yeah, there's my new clean rag. It's just about as dirty. Okay, now we gotta see if this thing actually works. So we find our lever, which I don't think he gave me a lever, did he? Yeah, we did. Sure. FX lever. Okay, we'll put that up on here. So you got 2 dowel pins and you got 4 screws. Make sure it works through the whole system. There's 4th, 3rd, 2nd, neutral, low. Low, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. quite shifting up in the one direction for some reason. Guess that's for over-shifting protection. Seems to be working. Okay, I got it in third gear for now. Okay, so that was our dry run. You can see how the springs are up in here, all lubed up. They actually rub underneath the bottom of this. And the little powel pieces in there, the little plunges were shift powels. Those go on the inside in there. And they go back and forth as you work it. Alright, so that all looks good to me. Now we have a cover plate. Goes on there. There's a little notch over here. Or is it up here? Oil tank clearance. So that goes like that. Notch lines up over here. The rest of it's round. Alright, there should be a gasket in there for whatever reason. So, new gasket. Or we can use the old gasket. I see nothing wrong with this gasket. Except it's old. So is everything else in this tranny. The way I look at trannies is, if everything's old in it, why put a bunch of new parts in there? The new parts are just going to wear out and be old parts when it all fails anyway, so use equal quality components. This is equal quality component. We're going to put a little bit of gasket goop on it. This is some nice thick stuff because it's getting old. Perfect for this kind of application. Got a little gasket board here. Holds the gasket while you put the goop on it. It's like putting 4 layers on at once. Nice and thick. The gasket has a notch on notch also. So match up your notch with the cover. Always like putting it down over that because it overhangs a little bit on the spring plate there. Make sure you got a little lubricant right here, some grease. Because it rubs right here and there's no real oil on getting to this area. Alright. Line up your notch. Like that. So you got 6 screws. 5 long and 1 short. He's got 2 short ones. One's custom, one's not. So the long ones go in here. So you should have about a 1/4 inch of 3/16 of working material there. Threads. So this one's a little on the short side. So you only got like 2 threads holding it, so that's not quite right. So if we use that, you got to be careful by not torquing that one very far, and that's not much holding power. Check another one, make sure that is all we got for holding power. It is. So remember that one's real crappy. This one takes a nut on it, so it just goes all the way through into the nut on the bottom here. And there's very little room for a nut on that. This side's been cut. Feel a lip on it. It's too short. There we go. That one has enough room for a nut. So we have to get another screw. See how many threads I got hanging out the bottom? So when this one was in there, you only had like that many. Not enough. So this screw is no good. So we're going to need one screw. That's how we bought our bag of screws right there, to get one screw. And he was missing one for up on top too. Okay, so that. Here's our little nut. I don't think they had a lock washer on that. There should have been one. I recall when I took that off, it was missing the lock washer. Appears to be still missing the lock washer. Great. So we need a little lock washer to go on our little screw. Right there. Alright, so what am I going to find me a little lock washer? Somewhere over here in all the junk pile. Let's see here. I actually got room to get back in there right now. Amazing. Climbing, but I got room. Okay, this is my lock washers from the old shop. Typical junk box. You always got to have your junk box of hardware. Saves you a lot of time if you sort out your hardware. Makes it a lot easier to find stuff quickly when you need it. So just dig in through here. We see a little small lock. It appears to be too small. Not that one. The small stuff usually goes to the bottom of the pile. That's just how it works. Too small again. Originally it was a little star washer. That's what they used. I don't know if I got a little star washer in here. Anyway, I gotta just kind of dig through all these little wash till you find something to use. There's a regular lock. There's the correct lock washer. Let's see if they have a little star washer floating around there. Star washers look like little stars. This is an external star, internal stars, it's on the inside. They use an external, internal is what they used. See, there's an internal one. And that appears to be about the right size also. So let's try that one there. There we go. Junk box comes in handy again. Okay, enough wiggle wiggle. Alright, so that goes there. Where'd our nut go? No, nut's on top where I can't see it. Goes like that. And that doesn't feel very good on that thread for whatever reason. Find a little L wrench here. Yep, that's the one. I don't know what's up with that. It's not very happy. Okay, go ahead and get these all started before you start torquing stuff down. Those threads don't feel the best. Make sure your notches line up with everything. Everything looks good over there. Okay, now we need a new screw. So we got to dig through our screw pile down here. It helps to put all your hardware in one little bag so you don't lose them all. And when you need them, you can find them. These are all the short ones with the nuts on them. Oh, no, there's a little short one I'm never going to need. Really short one. Pack of 5. Pack of 5. Figured they come with a full set. These are the short screws here, which is not going to help us any. They're using a regular lock washer on there. 1/8 inch. These ones don't tell you the length. They're longer. 1 3/8 long, it says. Looks like you only got the new set, so we'll rob them. We're going to rob one of those. Alright, there's our new one. Sticks up nice and high. This one might be a 1/16 longer than the other ones. So alright, I like that. It's not sticking out the other side, so it's good. Okay, now we just torque all these down a little bit. Okay. Initial torque. Now we really torque them. Now all Allen wrenches have built-in torque wrench. When this thing starts flexing, you know it's tight. So depending on how much flex you get, so that's a judgment call on how much you want to run. That comes from experience, but when you feel it stretching pretty good, see I'm bending about a 1/2 inch, that means you got pretty good torque on it.